Hello Reformers and welcome to Fantasy Calradia and yet another class showcase. This time we're going to be focusing on the Elven Ranger, as we haven't really had a ranged character just yet, and it would be kind of nice to see what has changed, if anything, with the elves, because I believe we did have a little bit of a foray in using elven units a little bit earlier on in the previous version, in the Fantasy Calradia 2014 version. So anyway, let us create our elf, and we're going to be a hunter, of course. We're going to be I think a street urchin is probably going to be the, no, a stepchild I think is probably going to make the greatest sense in terms of bow skill. So let's do that, and then we're going to be a ranger. Now, I do have a number of other ideas surrounding different classes, and yeah, that's it's cooking away, you know, it's cooking away in my mind. And oh yes, I should also mention that if you are experiencing a little bit of echo in my videos as of late, well, that is due to me having to move from my usual recording space. I do apologize for that, but yeah, trying to do my best to get it back to a normal level. Anyway, as you can see, what do we have to do here? I actually don't know. Being forced out of your home? That does make a kind of sense, does it? Or wanderlust? I don't actually know. Maybe just personal revenge will be fine, because obviously that's going to give us that additional strength. Yeah, we've actually got some pretty good stats there, with the exception of our intelligence. Wow, our intelligence is absolutely pitiful. However, we already have 5 in spotting, 5 in pathfinding, 4 in tracking. Tracking's not really necessary, but we have 6 in athletics, 3 in riding skill, 4 in power draw, and 2 in leadership. So our stats are nothing to sniff at, really, and we haven't even spent our skill points yet. So I guess it would be a nice idea to improve our strength to 15, our agility to 12, and we're going to get a little bit more in power draw. I'd like to go for some more power strike, but I have a feeling we're probably not going to be spending too much time using our melee weapon, but maybe we will, who knows. Now, I'm going to get a bunch of horse archery here and riding skill too, just to make sure, you know, just to make sure that we're fully prepared for anything that may come our way. Alright, so yeah, considering I haven't really thought about a very good name, yes, for our, shall we, oh no, yeah, okay, okay, here we go, Belfi, oh dear, yeah, okay, yeah, don't say anything, let's just move on. This actually looks like a pretty good face for an elf, so I think I'm just going to keep that, and we're going to go and start right next to the elves, because of course we are going to be using their units. Aha, now here's the thing. If you select take a nice long walk around Ravidin, that is going to just plop you onto the world map without giving you anything. It's not going to give you the, you know, initial starting quest or anything like that, but if you say go find an inn, then we're going to be fighting a bandit, which is actually pretty cool because it does give you that extra little bit of cash at the start, and well, you can't say no to that, can you? I mean, that's really quite nice. And that was an extremely powerful headshot, if I do say so myself. I'm gonna need to get my proficiency up much higher than that, because you saw the insane sort of crosshair accuracy being extremely bad. So anyway, we're now gonna go over to the Elflands. I think we are currently not very liked by the Drow and the Orcs. The Dwarves don't really like us, the Undead don't really like us, the Blazing Hand and the Wizards are absolutely fine, and obviously the Elves are okay with us. So in general, we seem to be a pretty well-liked person at the moment, so that's not too bad. Now let's see if I can get a couple more villagers and volunteers without being absolutely massacred by the looters in the area. I find it a bit weird that there are relatively low-tier looters surrounding the elves, because you'd think that the elves would be perfectly capable of defending themselves against, well, somewhat higher tier bandits, but maybe that's just, you know, maybe that's just how it is right now, which I'm not complaining, because I'm perfectly happy to fight some looters, thank you very much. I have 11. Alright, so first off, what we want to do is we want to take a look at the short bow that we have here. Okay, so it seems like we just have the exact same thing, so that's absolutely fine. Gonna use a falchion and a boar spear just in case, and yeah, that should be good. Alright, let's go in and see what we can do. Now, I'm wondering whether we can make some sort of elven spell sword character. I mean, I'm pretty sure you can, but I'm trying to think about the spells and what they currently hold and what they're really going to benefit us with, because at the moment I can't really think of anything. I mean, there's fireballs, there's shock spells, the haste spell would be very, very important, but I think, isn't that only a faith ability? If that's only a faith ability, then obviously that's, yeah, it's not really going to help us out too much, is it? Okay, so here we have the slight issues so far, and that is, of course, my accuracy being pretty terrible, but I'm still able to get some pretty nice headshots. Decent damage as well, not bad. It's been a while since I've actually been able to use archery, so this is going to be a nice change of pace, because we've had the Orc Barbarian, we've had the Dwarven Paladin, and of course we've had the Necromancer. And, well, those classes are all very hands-off-ish, with the exception of the Orc Barbarian, of course, and the Orc Barbarian is more likely just to get into the fray and do insane damage with any kind of weapon. And this guy's a little bit different, because he's going to be, you know, far away from the action. He's going to be shooting people in the face and, well, hopefully not missing too many times, which is what he's currently attempting to do right now, which is not very good. So let's just tell our people to charge in here and see if I can get a couple more kills. I'd like to get to the next level very, very quickly, you see, because I'd like to try and see if I can maybe improve our skills dramatically by maybe, there we go, by maybe getting a little bit more in our weapon proficiency, you know, where maybe in Weapon Master or something like that. Anyway, because this is a class showcase, we're going to be taking a look at the nearby marketplace, because that is obviously going to give us a good idea of what we can expect to be using later on in the Elf Ranger's lifespan. And there we go. Alright, so yes, now let us just take a look here. So what are we actually getting here? Okay, so Novices of Corellon, they are the clerics of the Elven faction, and we also have Elven Hunters here. Now, the elf women, they become elven initiates, which then also, I would assume, use some kind of magic. Maybe they become more like mages and wizards in comparison to the males that become clerics. So let's just do an elf hunter. Let's do 2 elven huntresses and 1 elven initiate. Yes, it seems like they become elven enchantresses. As far as I remember, the elven enchantresses and their upgrade path were very powerful indeed. Maybe they've been changed, but let's just take a quick look at the elven faction here. I'm going to go backwards because I don't really want to go through all of the regular factions. And we are now here at the elves. So let's take, oh, an arcane master. Did you see that? All the way down to the bottom here. Whoa, that is crazy. Okay, do you see this? A throwing axe dodge percentage is 95%. That's crazy. Alright, well this is obviously a very, very powerful mage. It has a 60% chance to dodge in melee as well. Wow. Its magic power is at 11, so I suppose we're going to turn it up to 11, aren't we? Yeah, that's apparently what we're going to do with this unit. That's crazy. Now, let's actually just see what they upgrade into. So, elf women from elven huntresses become elven scouts, which are mounted units, elven bow sisters, and then unicorn riders. And you can assume that unicorn riders are going to be absolutely insane when it comes to dodging everything. You can see they have about 50% in everything, with the exception of, obviously, throwing axes. And they do have 8 in horse archery, 7 in power draw. They're not very good in their proficiencies, but it doesn't really matter as far as I'm aware, because they're on a mount, they're going to be extremely fast and agile and everything. And then, of course, we have the standard elven male upgrade path, which eventually results in these guys, the elven Hawkeyes. They are, of course, the non-mounted units. They're very, very sniperish, you know, they're very good at long range. And then, of course, we have the others, which are... Where are they? No, wait, that's an elven spell sword. I'm talking about the Novices of Corellon. There they go. Okay, so the Novices of Corellon, they eventually become the High Cleric of Corellon, which is, of course, the cleric skill class of the elves, which is actually pretty cool too. So the elves in general have a very nice balance because I guess with the exception of infantry, because I mean I guess they would have some infantry, but they're probably not going to focus on that too much. They're going to focus on being agile and mobile with their cavalry, and well, that's basically it, I suppose. Anyway, let us go over to the Elf Forest, and we're going to take a look at what kind of weapons and armor we can hope to get later on. Wow, these are really cheap. Look at that. This elven bow right here, which we can use right away, which is significantly better than this short bow. Just look at the short bow's accuracy. It's absolutely awful, isn't it? But this elven bow is only 3,400, and we're able to improve our accuracy to 95. If you want to have something even stronger, even more damaging, but less accuracy, then you can also go for this longbow if you so desire, which might be something to consider. But 90 accuracy versus 95, I kind of like the 95. You can also use this elven bow on a horse, which is pretty advantageous. So I'm pretty happy with that. All right, okay. So now what about the armor? What about the armor? What are we going to be getting here? Well, you can see that most of the armor is actually pretty lightweight. I mean, you can see here, the Elven Ambush armor is only 3 weight in comparison to what I'm currently wearing, which is only 2. But it gives a very slight upgrade percentage with its, you know, body armor and leg armor and so on and so forth. If you want to get Elven Scale armor, however, then obviously you're going to have to, you know, take a little bit of a hit on the encumbrance scale, because encumbrance does actually make a difference in this version of Fantasy Calradia. You are going to be moving a little bit slower when you wear heavier armor. I mean, that makes sense, obviously. But anyway, there we go. That's going to be it. And we do have the obligatory unicorns. Oh yes, you do have unicorns available here. These are absolutely beastly. I actually don't know what kind of mount can beat this. I think maybe the Death Knight horse from the Undead Empire. That might actually make it. Yeah, that might actually beat it a little bit. Anyway, I'm actually wondering whether I should buy a saddle horse or whether I should just wait, because I think maybe waiting would be a better idea, because I do want to participate in a couple of tournaments. I'm going to try and get a couple more elf women here, because I would very much like to see where their elven enchantress... Oh yeah, I didn't take a look at that. I didn't take a look at the elven enchantress and where that upgrades into. I think that would actually be pretty cool, but oh well, never mind. Is there... No, there isn't a tournament going on here, but don't worry, I'm not going to show all of it as I have with some of the other class showcases. I just feel like it's kind of important for you to see that. It's kind of important for new players, you know, to see how they do in a new tournament, how the, you know, each class handles and everything. Anyway, Sargoth is pretty close. Curor is very close by. Rivercheg is close as well. Okay. Well, we should be able to go to basically any of those, which is nice. Alright, so before I go over and try and participate in one of those, we're just going to take a look at the elves once again. And I'm going to try and find that elven... Ah, there we go. There's the elven enchantress. I think it is... Where is it now? Did I just miss it once again? No, there we go. The elven enchantress eventually becomes this, the elven arcane master. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, so yeah, I'm very much looking forward to seeing how they respond in a true battle situation. Alright, so I have already attained victory in the first round, and I'm going to show maybe this round and then nothing else until the final round, just to save a little bit of time. But unfortunately, I don't have that much money. I've already bet every single penny I have, and that is unfortunate because, yeah, I would have liked to have maybe capitalized a little bit more on it. But anyway, 4 teams with 8 fighters. I was unfortunately gifted with a a bag of throwing javelins in the very beginning of this tournament, and well, let me just say that that was not great. That was not great at all. I actually did pretty well considering. I mean, I have, I believe, a throwing proficiency of 15. So you can kind of imagine how much damage I'm able to do with that, considering I also do not have any, you know, power throw. I think I have 1 in power throw or something like that, so that might be the reason why I was able to deal some damage. But yeah, let me just say that the body shots were about 5 damage. Yeah, so if you're going to be doing a tournament this early on with a character such as this, which doesn't really have the greatest proficiencies in some of the lesser known weapons, so you know, some of the more niche weapons, then it is going to be, well, a bit difficult, suffice it to say. So yes, you do have to watch out for that a little bit when you're creating a new character, and maybe you want to, you know, if you are planning on doing a tournament, maybe you want to spec into a couple of some of the more rarer weapon types, you know, pole arms, throwing weapons, etc. And yeah, unfortunately, as you can see here, I've already bet 900, and if you win, you'll earn 11,000, only 11,000. I would have otherwise earned 39,000 if I could have bet 1,000 every single round, but obviously we're just starting off. Anyway, this is 2 teams with 1 fighter each. I'm going to show this just because it's a 1 versus 1, and then we'll skip to the last round and see if I can do this. And I do have some one-handed weapon proficiency, so we should be fine to deal with this. And I'm a bit worried about taking him off his horse because I've noticed that the two-handed weapon users are actually really good when it comes to being off their mount. You know, they do have that extra reach, but it seems like this guy was not prepared for how extremely powerful and brutal Belfi Beartilt was. Oh yes. Alright, so we're now in the final round, and, well, let me just say, we're against Dranton. Yes, we're against Dranton. This is not going to go well. Ooh, it might go well now. I do have a two-handed, which is going to make things a little easier, but yeah, let me just say that the previous rounds were absolutely painful because I had, yet again, javelins, and I was expected to beat a champion fighter? Yeah, I think it was a champion fighter and someone else, and I did have someone on my team. Thankfully, they were really good. I think it was it Dranton? I actually don't know, but yeah, anyway, he seems to he seems to be a little bit fascinated with that wall over there, so obviously that has caused him to succumb to my damage. Alright, so I was lucky enough to run across a battle between one of the Elvish vassals and some Orcish raiders. Now, these raiders are not a part of the Bleeding Throat clan, they're just some neutral enemies. Anyway, let's rush in to help. Now, they were gonna win, I think. I'm actually unsure about that because it seemed like a pretty, I don't know, a bit of a stalemate. So I'm not entirely sure how effective or how powerful the orcs actually are, but this is going to be pretty interesting. Whoa, that is the Elvish vassal? Whoa, that is pretty cool looking. She's wearing an extremely awesome hood and is using an enchanted blade of some sort. That looks really cool. Anyway, yes, unfortunately I've sent in most of my units. That's not very good, is it? No, that is not very good at all. Now, what I'm going to try to do mostly here is survive. Yes, survival is kind of paramount at the moment because I'd like to get a little bit of, you know, experience. So maybe getting a little bit of experience would be nice. I'm going to try and get a couple of headshots here as well. That's what we're doing. I mean, you know, I've gotten a couple of headshots here. And there's another one. And there's another one. Okay, not too bad. And now I'm headshotting my own people, because that's what I do. And now I am up against this guy. Alright, so this guy's going to be pretty tricky to deal with, I think. Oh, we dodged it. That was lucky. That was really lucky. Okay, maybe I can use my Falchion then instead. Whoa, this guy has the best armor ever, and I have no power strike whatsoever to get through it. Ah, that is terrible. Okay, so how many... Oh, wow. Did I really just lose all of my units? Yeah, I guess I did. That was pretty bad. You know why? You know why though? Because we seem to spawn a little bit ahead of our allies' units, and that has now caused us to lose way more than we should have. But oh well, never mind. I mean, I don't suppose it really matters too much because the rest of them will then level up, which I suppose is pretty good. But yes, anyway, in the episodes coming up, we're going to be exploring what kind of armor and weapons you can gain from the 4 ways in. We're going to be taking a look at fighting orcs on a grander scale. That's kind of the reason why I thought that this would be pretty poignant, because obviously we're going to be fighting the Bleeding Throat clan for the most part. And then we're going to, you know, see what the sort of late game is and what kind of siege options we're gonna have, because obviously most of the elvish units are more likely to be killing people from a distance, and so are we gonna kill absolutely everyone in the siege garrison immediately? Are we gonna do the mage thing, or are we, are we gonna have to head in there? Are we gonna go up the ladders, go up the siege tower, and get into the walls? Is that necessary as an elf? Well, I suppose that's the question that we're gonna answer as we go forward. Anyway, as you can see here, there we go. Nice, we're introducing ourselves with that absolutely terrible hat. I don't suppose she minds, but she's probably like, oh, who's this idiot? Yes, exactly. I don't know. But anyway, there you go. Okay, so we do have a couple of orcish armaments here, but I'm not going to be using those. Thank you very much. I don't see the necessity for that. And there you go. Okay, so now we have at least leveled up a couple of extra people here. I'm going to be leveling up some more elven initiates because I'd like to see those elven enchantresses sooner rather than later, if at all possible. Anyway, in the next episode, we're going to see the new items that we can gain from the 4 Ways In to create a rather wonderful character. And to do that, obviously, I'm going to do a couple of extra tournaments. I thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.